Oh, I'm streaming. I've decided to hop online and stream. What are we going to talk about today? Actually, I gotta go grab my notes. Oh, I'm back. What is this? It looks like OpenTunes is choking a bit. What's going on, OpenTunes? Okay, I guess not much. So, as usual, I'm going to offer up my disclaimer that OBS has a annoying tendency to blank out fairly frequently. So, if it does, it does. Yep, I'm live now. And I need to mute the audio. Okay, so now, what are we going to do today? There's quite a few things to think about. Okay, right there we've got something that should probably be addressed. Alright, so one of the hardest thing about animation actually is having so much material that's in various states of completion. And so, on the one hand, from here to here, it transitions from being in front to being behind. So that means I need to hit the insert key and put one column each. Well, actually, this column or level should be there. Okay, so what's this going to be? I'm going to say, when in doubt, make it a tunes or raster level. And we're going to need, well, we can see what we're going to need. So I'm going to zoom in, and it's kind of like, let's just get this done. Now, there is one thing to consider. Might want to take the floor out for the simple reason that if it's in there, I can't see to be sure that I'm going to have a closed shape here. So, and then another thing is, I don't really want my guide drawing to be so bright. So let's take our guide drawings, as pitifully simplistic as they are, but they'll certainly serve the purpose. Okay, so now B key, and what I want to do is go ahead and just draw this hand. The details don't matter much in this case because it's actually so tiny in the frame, really small actually. So if it's reasonably good, actually another thing is view, I want to turn on. So I'm just going to pound away on this. Cool. Alright. It'll be good to get this part done. Okay, so now what I need to do, I guess I'm going to have to, let's put this back in. Yeah, so it really needs to be both in front and behind. So it's a little, oops, sorry, I just started drawing on the wrong layer, or level. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically give the palm of his hand like that, and I need to also, oops, this guy needs to be turned off. Okay, so this is, sorry, keep drawing on the wrong level. This is a very kludgy thing I'm doing, but it's kind of how I have to do it in order to get it to look right. So, okay, now that I've done that, I can turn this level off. There's no need for it to be on there. Okay, so now we've got the fingers, and again, tunes raster level. We're just going to parallel this sequence, which is actually only one drawing, which is great. Let's turn. Hey, where did my that's interesting. That was kind of strange. So if I click here, I wonder if that's because of the fill check. Yep, sure enough. Ha! Can't believe I guessed that one right. Okay, so now what I need to do is get those fingers in there and pretty much just kind of follow this drawing, because I'm going to have to ink it and paint it both in front and behind. So we'll just add a finger here and kind of put those glove lines in there. Probably should turn this off for the moment. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Oops. I keep doing the same thing. I keep clicking on a level and then I start drawing and I forget I need to switch back to the other level. So let's get that. Okay, and we actually have an erroneous line here. So I'm having to sort of think in multi-dimensions here. Okay, so let's just get those fingers on there like so, and we will draw that line straight across there. Alright, now we can turn on the ink check, or the fill check. Okay, yeah, so, and that's good. Okay. So now, what is the actual size? Okay, so now we turn this back on and we can delete the guide. That guide layers or level is not going to help us. Delete that, and up it comes and down it goes. Okay, so now what do we have here? Probably I gotta look at the whole sequence now. So her eyes squint, the hand comes up. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's because we're in the sub X sheet. Kind of makes me wonder. Hang on a second. I've got a sneaking suspicion here that maybe I just deleted something I shouldn't have. Okay, what's going on? What's going on is that we've got sort of a continuation of the shot downstream here. I'm going to save all and jump up out of here real quick and see what's going on. So, okay. Yes. Alright, and view, fill checked off. Okay, so now it comes to, so the hand comes up there, and then we got this guy climbing in, and we got OpenTunes doing an autosave. I guess everything looks like it's operating as advertised. What I'm wondering is, well, I actually split this in two, is what I did. So these two levels are actually the same sub-X sheet. So that's what makes it confusing, because I did a little editing in there. So with that, probably the thing to do would be, let's get that colored just to kind of sort of be done with it. So here we go. That's already turned off. Let's turn it off in the render as well. So at this point, just to be safe, I'm not gonna, yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything downstream on those two levels, but doesn't hurt to have them in there. So let's go with this. And now what we want to do is, really we should grab the palette. Oops, sorry, that was my, this is what I've been buried in the last few days, is JavaScript and CSS stuff that had to do with getting the Ken Burns effect in a web page. So, So now, where, oh where, is the palette? Well, I'm going to look on my other screen. I actually have 3 screens. And I'm going to go to Anime, Tunes, and Palettes. Okay, and I want the Ninja palette, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to drag it here. And as I have shown previously, I need to copy those guys. I've found that that having multiple palettes results in persnickety behavior, whereas if I just have one palette. So anyway, that's why I cut and pasted the colors from one palette to the other. This should be, I guess we'll go with basic black since it's so, okay, can't do that. Well, wait a minute. Can I do that? I can do that, actually. In fact, I should. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, so those are in the next level. So what I want to do is, yeah, this is definitely a little bit of a, kind of an unusual bit of shenanigans I have to go through here because because his hand is both in front of and behind the wall, depending on what frame you're on. So now if we put the wall back in, it comes up and over. So now for some reason right here, I don't even remember if I colored his fingers before. I'm going to assume I didn't. And I think we're happening. Okay, so now we zoom way out and we can see what's really going on. Preview mode. Okay. So now that's interesting. That means I failed to color something. So let's grab this. There we go. And there. Let me check this. What happens if we turn that off? Okay. Okay. So if we turn that off, it works. Therefore, what we actually need to do is kill these frames. There's nothing gained by having them in there. So now we'll turn off the preview and okay, good to go. All right, got 2 watching now. Identify yourselves. Identify yourselves. Okay. Yep, looks good. Of course, we'll have to put a shadow in there. So that's what I was talking about earlier. There's always more to do. That's for sure. Okay, but we got that done. So let's jump up out of the SubX sheet and see what we've got here. Okay, so Akari's eyes pop open. Squinty, squinty, looky, looky. There's the hand. And now here's what we have to do. Okay, this is going to be a task. As we jump up to here, we're going to have to add shadows there as well. But basically the problem we have, and this is really probably going to consume a lot of the time today, is we need to address this, what I would call a matte painting. I need to just paint this in. But what I want to do is get some reference. I have an earlier scene. Save all. When in doubt, save your work. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Akari sleeping and look at this shot. Okay, so that's not horrible. It's really when we get to, I think, the 3rd or 4th shot where things, yeah, it's the 3rd shot. This is where it goes south. Okay, so we basically got the same shot here, but frankly, this perspective is kind of ludicrous. It doesn't actually make sense. And I think I've actually got 2 levels of SubX sheet here, so yeah. So what we have is we've got the interior, then we got a bunch of junk painted over it, and then we've got Akari. And it looks to me like there's actually some stuff that's a little out of sync in terms of, I mean, you can see that mess there, so there's something that's not scaling properly too. But at least that gives me my bearings. I think what I'll do, I know what I can do. I can refer to the rendered version. So I'm going to open Vegas. For those of you who are like big aficionados of doing everything with open source software, this is where I'm going to let you down, because when it comes to editing, I'm a Vegas guy. I've used Vegas for all my movies, corporate video, blah blah blah, everything for, geez, how long's it been? I've been using Vegas since like version 3. So we're talking a good 10 years, at least 10 years. Okay. So now what we need to do, since we kind of have our bearings on this, I'm going to go back to the other shot where the ninjas enter. I'm going to discard the changes because that scaling that looks like it's out of whack might be something I introduced that by not saving my work. Maybe that'll be okay. So now I'm going to go back to Vegas and just load up the rendered scene so that I just have a photo reference. Go into the images. I think it's backgrounds. I got to remember. Have to remember where I put things. I quite frankly, you know, it's kind of the cardinal sin to not know where you saved things, and so, but man, when you're pulling up a shot, you know, you're referring back to stuff from weeks and weeks ago. Yeah, that's a painting I did the other day. So I think I may have kind of shot myself in the foot here, because let me look at image reference. Yeah. It's the Buddhist. Here it is. There's the Buddhist shrine. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to find out if OpenTunes has what amounts to, excuse me, a defocus effect. Okay, so now we've got her in the foreground. Let's go grab the animate tool. Yeah, so basically, you know, things are going to move kind of slow today. This is our perspective. So our eye line is here, therefore the edge of the floor has to be there. Okay, so that's fine. This is the first keyframe for this image. So actually, of course, okay, so you can see what the kind of the problem is there, is that we either need to extend the floor or keep adjusting it. My sense is that that's really what we want, so I'm going to plan on extending the floor. So now the question becomes, let's look in the schematic, and we're going to go into the effects mode, and this is going to be, I'm just going to call this BKGD for background, and there it is. And what I want to do is find out if there is a defocus. Well, there's a bokeh. Okay. The thing that's strange about the bokeh plugin, though, is I don't know what OpenTunes is looking for as far as sources. I haven't really grokked this, and as you can see, it does nothing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a kind of time-honored fudging of defocusing. And the way to do that is to use a min-max filter in circular mode combined with a little bit of just blurring. So now the question becomes, is it under distort? Nope. Image adjust, no, it's going to be what would it be? It might be under matte because, well, it could be erode dilate. We'll keep that one on tap as a possibility. Let's see. Oh, yeah, circular. That's what we want. Okay, so let's just go 5 millimeter and see what happens. That didn't seem to do much, so let's go to 50 and see what happens. I would think it would be, oh, yeah, I got it in render mode. Why are we not seeing? Could it be that the erode dilate filter in OpenTunes is not like a min-max filter? Could be. I've never actually done this yet. So I think I'm going to cheat. Yep, I'm going to cheat. And here's how I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go into Vegas and I'm going to take this image. I'm just going to drag it down here because I know Vegas has a really good defocus filter. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, but I don't want it to be quite that extreme. So let's turn the radius down, and yeah, that's a good looking defocus. I like that. Something like that. Okay, and so then what I'm going to do is save this snapshot to file, and I'm going to put it right alongside. Actually, no, I'm going to do it correctly. I'm going to go to Anime, Images, Backgrounds, and I'm just going to call this Buddhist Shrine Defocused. So if you're watching this and you want to see the fun, cool stuff, you're probably going to be a little disappointed because this is pretty pedestrian work, but the thing is, it's got to be done. You know, if you want to have the background in there and have it look right, why, you simply have to do the grunt work. And the grunt work is to process this background and then just do the work. So here we go. Let's kill those guys. And as you can see now, when it rendered out of Vegas, it was scaled. So that's actually a really good thing. But it means I need to change all those settings that I did before. So let's just scale it back down again. Scale it back down. And okay, we don't need it to be in preview mode, actually. So I'm shooting myself in the foot by wasting CPU cycles on preview mode. But let me see what we have here. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. Now, obviously, it's going to have to be color corrected. And we're going to have to paint in the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert another level here and hit the old B key. Now we're just going to be painting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this guy because this is like it's a good just a paintbrush for doing like an oil paint almost kind of look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to this shot. Where is that shot? Right here. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to put this up on my other screen so I can refer back to it. And probably step one, I would say, is let's just establish the perspective on the floor. Now, obviously, I'm cheating because I'm basically defining my own perspective here. So I'm just going to sketch it in so we sort of have a concept. For the texture of the floor. And then let's move that a little more towards brown, a little darker, and we've got basically some slats going on. Okay, so one question that does come to mind is why is this not covering up? Is it because, oops. Yeah, it's just because I'm not painting aggressively enough. So once I lose some of that transparency, it'll be fine. Okay, so that's cool. Zoom back out then. Okay, so now what I want to do is just get these slats in here. Remember, this room is going to be really dark. I mean, I'm painting it as if everything was lit right up, you know, middle of the day kind of thing. But once it's rendered, it's going to be extremely dark. We're sort of looking into a dark room, so therefore can kind of get away with murder on the details here. But I'm blocking this in a little more aggressively now, just so I don't see the what would be properly called the matte line from that background image. So we can sort of fudge it. Doesn't have to be, you know, Emmy Award winning painting here, because most of this you're not going to see. Well, plus it's going to be painted over completely. I mean, not completely, but a lot of it's going to be painted over anyway, because I've got to put a Akari in the shot. Okay, so now I'm going to make my paintbrush bigger and just kind of do this number, which kind of blends it, so that's fine. Okay, now Akari. I want to look up at the, okay, I think that probably the wise approach here, besides making everything bigger so I can see with the floor, because obviously the bed could be rotated, it could be turned in the room. Now, having said that, once I pull out and look at it, I might go, it doesn't look that good. So, but no, I actually think that's going to probably work fine. I'm not making it mega dark because there's going to be some color correction filtering going on that's going to make it darker. So when it's all said and done, so that at least gets it blocked in. Now what I need to do is look at the sort of the tonality of the components of the drawing that I know for sure are going to be in there. Basically, we've got this blanket from the other shots, so I'm not gonna shade it properly at this point. I'm just gonna get it in there, and the blanket sort of hangs down like this. And again, we don't have to make that super detailed, because this is going to be you know, this is going to be both dark and out of focus. So I actually want it to be very simplified and generalized looking. So let's pull out, and yeah, that's not too bad. That should be a little darker. Hello. Okay, and I'm hitting the R key to sample that color, and then just grab a darker shade of it, basically, and okay. You know, you could take me to task on whether this should actually be shaded this way, because everything we've been doing indicates that the light is coming in from the window, so it's definitely you could call it a kludge. You know, it's sort of a do what looks good more than is necessarily exactly correct. Okay, now it would be easier to put the shadow on a separate layer or level, but let's see. Okay, that's going to be okay. Do I have... Okay, I don't actually have the color correction filter in there yet. Let me pull out to the... Yeah, I do have it on the main. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to... somebody messaged me. Who messaged me? Oh, that's just me saying that I'm live. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that and hit auto markers so I can just kind of play it back and just... Okay, that's interesting. Why have we got a blanky poo here? So I didn't extend that. I extended it. Yep, there's your problem. Well, no big mystery there, huh? So anyway, the upshot is this. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this at all. So, oops. I just did some painting in the wrong level. So let's see. What did I just do? Okay. Why does it keep coming? Oh, I know why. OpenTunes has a definite bug where if it does a render and then you make a change but then go back, it'll pull what it shows you out of its memory cache or its memory buffers, and so you think it didn't register your changes when it did. So that's kind of not cool. But yes, so okay, I see what's going on here. Yeah, I did. I kind of made a strategic error. The strategic error that I made was that putting the bed and the floor on the same level, super big mistake, because you know, what if you want to move the bed a little bit? What if you want to put a shadow in between the two? So yep, bad move. I'm gonna just, since I'm kind of moving fast, I'm gonna just paint over it. Okay, and stupid OpenTunes took me back to the color I was using before, so unfortunately I don't want to waste any time with this, so I'm just gonna paint it out. Sorry. Goodbye. See you later. Been nice knowing you. And then we'll just kind of put the texture back in. And my sense is that the perspective on the bed's going to want to be different anyway. So, all right, a little less saturated, but a little darker, a little more push into the brown. There's my slats. Okay, darker, a little darker. Yeah, I think so. Because mainly because the colors in the background are darker. So I kind of want to match match this kind of tonality. I wonder if I hit. Yeah, that's cool. So if you hit the R key in OpenTunes, it will actually, it doesn't limit its sampling to the current level, which is a very cool thing. It would be a little obnoxious if it did. So I'm going to grab that and just kind of get that texture back in there. And then we'll put the bed and a shadow on the different levels. So I'm going to make that bigger. Just kind of blend this out a little bit. Now I don't have to erase it perfectly. I mean, I guess I can, but because obviously she's going to be painted over top. So go here and hit the insert key and boom. So now B key. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put the bed back in. I'm super boring tonight. That's why nobody's watching. Okay, let's block this in. Blocky, blocky, blocky. And of course, OpenTunes. Goofy old OpenTunes. switched me back to the default brush, which is, in my view, like the dumbest idea ever. Like, you would never ever want that, but that's what OpenTunes does. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the bed longer. By making the bed longer, I'm effectively embracing this perspective. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you look at this, because see, now it's going to be like there's the other leg of the bed, and we're gonna go ahead and follow the floor. Like I said, I might do it, I might not. Well, I'm gonna, because I think it'll just look better. It'll sell. Person watching. I wonder if actually the person who's watching is me. I've never been able to figure out if because I have seen it where it says there's 0 people watching, so it makes me wonder if YouTube's registering me as a watcher. Not sure about that. Okay, so now we want to put the nice trim on the blankie. Nice trim. And then we had the sort of, okay, this is going to have to be smaller. And, hello? Boy, I guess to really push the saturation to see, that's too much to see that. And dark, dark, dark. Okay, going back and looking at the, looking at the reference material. There we go. I guess I could have just sampled the, so this doesn't have to be detailed because it's just kind of defocused and in the background. So now what I do want to do, however, is let's go ahead and treat this more correctly. And by that, OpenTunes is going to autosave, which is generally a good thing. Okay, so what's going on here? Something's going on here. Let me turn that off. No. Okay, sorry. Okay. Floor, background. I'm just going to go to like major black here. And of course, OpenTunes, of course. Switched back to the default brush. Again, behavior that no person would ever want the software to do, but that's what it does. So what I'm wondering is why when I paint here am I not getting a bold black line? Paint here, I'm getting a... Weird. Weird. Okay. So we're going to assume... I'm definitely getting the bold black line here. So we're going to assume that... Wait a minute. I was going to put the shadow on a different layer. Yep. Well, this is not unusual. I keep doing stuff and then remembering what I wanted to do differently. So now, B key. There's my... Yep, that's cool. Let's make it bigger. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go like this. Just get that sort of shadow area in there. Okay. So a lot of times I do this kind of stuff offline, like when I'm going to be really when I know it's going to be tedious work. I'm always thinking, like, who really wants to watch super tedious work? But I don't know. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add some judicious highlights. I'll just go kind of halfway there and see if OpenTunes stupidly, as usual, switches me back to the default color. Okay, let's go back and let's do a quick review. Okay, I think that's going to be okay, but there is something missing. Okay, so I'm going to give this a name so I don't drive myself crazy. I'm going to call this a card. Maybe I should call it bed. Let's call it bed with big capital letters. There we go. Okay, so what's missing? Well, what's missing is the other bedpost. So if we're going to follow the perspective here in the bed layer, jeez, just inserted a keyframe. Sorry. Okay. So actually, that would be there. In the R key to sample that. Okay. That's cool. I think that works. Alright, so now I gotta bump up out of the... Okay, yeah, so this color correction probably isn't really quite right, but I think for the purpose of what we're doing, I think it's going to be okay. Especially because that whole sequence goes by really fast. So let's see if... Let's preview it in, well, what OpenTunes calls preview mode. Okay, that'll be fine. So now what I want to do is I'm going to hit the R key, and hopefully it'll only render the preview range. That's what I'm hoping. So I can just see what the color correction's doing to it. So rewind, and let's loop. You know, it looks pretty good. I mean, I think I'm going to want to put that overhead glow in there probably behind these guys. And I just saw something strange like right here. Yep, I did. Look at that. What the heck was that? Let's go back here. Look at this. Right there. The background animated. That's not acceptable, is it? No, it's not. So, let's go here. This seems like it's one of those things that, like that. Like, what the heck is that? When did I do that? I didn't do that. Or did I? So it's like, really? Okay. Okay. So why is this positioned wrong? This is one of those things that happens with OpenTunes every once in a while. It's just like, I've been working on this shot on and off, and this scene on and off for quite a few days, and nary a problem. But okay, well we can't fix it. We can't fix it by okay, actually I'm looking at the wrong thing here, so I'm being an idiot. This is the sky. What I need to be looking at is this. Yeah, okay, there we go. So the question is, what the heck is going on here? We've got a keyframe there. Like I said, this is what the real work is. You know, you get into it and you find out the software has just done some bizarre thing that you have to now deal with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out and just stretch this down. I really don't see a reason to change the position, but up here I'm just thinking we could probably just scale this. So I'm going to scale that up just a bit, and I think that'll solve our problem. Yep, that's fine. Is that perfect? Well, it's probably not perfect. It should probably be scaled up just a little bit more. Okay. And now let's jump back up out and take a peek. Okay. Let's just keep rolling here and see what we've destroyed in the process. I see what we've destroyed in the process. Yeah. So this just goes to show, you know, what I did here is something you don't ever want to do, which is, but it's a side effect of making an editing decision. This was one sequence before, and now because the middle section was cut out and replaced with a different shot, we've got this situation where it's just easy to make changes up north and realize you broke something down south, after the fact. So that's what happened here. It's not a huge thing. I mean, it's going to be pretty easy to fix, but obviously the floor. What I'm going to say actually we should do here is the following. Let's go here. Let's extend this here, and let's insert a column. And I think the way to fix this is just to move this over so that I can give a different animation animation tool setting to this. So let me just double check the reference up here and make sure I'm doing what I intended to do. So he climbs up. Yeah. Okay. So let's go here. Move this to here. And honestly, it's just got to be scaled up a bit, and I think we'll be in good shape. So let's scale that up. Reposition it so it's all in frame, and we just have to go like that. Except, I forgot, to be accurate, this needs to be here. Okay, so the thing that's strange is in my reference material, you can see we've got this wall here. And now, but yet in this drawing we don't. So the gospel truth is I have absolutely no recollection of what I did to, I don't remember repainting that. I think I may have done that, but so okay. And then, so now what we have to do is kind of a worst case scenario, because I have to go in and figure out, well, this is what happens when you hurry. I was going fast and wanted to, leverage what I did before, use the same image twice, which is no great crime. And clearly what I must have done is added the left-hand wall, what would appear to be, it's obviously his right-hand wall, but okay, there it is. There it is. Why the heck's it way down there? People, I am going bananas. Okay. I know why. At least I think I know why. Let me just see what goes on the rest of the... Okay. So yeah, what we're going to do... Gosh. Alright, here's how we're going to do it. There's always a way. I'll tell you that. There's always a way. So what I'm going to do is take this shot, which is the correct one, move it up here. Alright. And then obviously now the animate tool that we did is completely wrong, because I wonder what happens. Actually, let's see what happens if we delete that keyframe. Okay. So what really is supposed to happen here, as I'm looking at my reference, is something like that. And it looks to me like in the original it would have been scaled down a bit. And oh, that's animation for you. I mean, what you're doing most of the time is cheating. So we're definitely cheating here. Now, I see some wackiness with Ninja number 2 right there. That's classically the sort of thing that you kind of could get away with, but what I'm wondering is, was it always like that and I just didn't notice it? Yeah, actually it was. So that's funny. I'm a silly boy. I am a silly boy. Okay. And I'm gonna say, slight weirdness with his belt. What happens if we turn this on? Okay, we're not going to be able to see the effects until we rise up out of the sub-X sheet. So yeah, Ninja number 2, and there's Ninja number 2 hand, and it looks like the egregious stuff is baked into the image. So actually, here's the fix. Let's jump here. Yeah. So let's go back. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to do is sample this. I really want that brush. And that's not quite the right color, is it? Okay. This will be okay here. But I really need to sample that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. This is one of those cases where what is this like? This is like making sausage. Okay? There's an old saying, and the saying is that you don't want to see, you may love sausage, but you don't really want to see it being made. Well, in the world of animation, sometimes you don't want to see it. You don't want to see what's really going on to fix up your favorite anime, because everybody has to do this stuff, man. This is like just little patches and fixes. So I'm just gonna kind of go here and paint that out and just kind of leave it. I mean, this is actually a really egregious problem. This is so stupid. This is the kind of thing that makes you want to claw your own eyeballs out when it comes to animation, because now I have to stop everything and just fix this situation that was a kludge in the first place. That never should have been allowed to happen. So, pretty frustrating. What if we take this? Let me see what's happening with his hand. His hand, okay. What if we take this shot out? Okay, we don't want that in there. Thank you very much. Okay, let's just see what happens. That works, actually. So there we go. Problem solved. Where is this drawing coming from? You see that sketch right there? There's sort of a reference layer. It's probably this. Yep. So that needs to be turned off both in the preview and in the render. Okay, finally we can rise up out of the sub-X sheet, and I don't think there's really any other solution here except to run a full render of all this stuff and see what we have. And I'll go ahead and jump into this shot as well, because that's kind of where we're going to have to go next. So, okay. Let's just see what happens. So, nothing too offensive. That's got to be color corrected, obviously. I saw something weird again. And it was not in Ninja 2. It was actually in Ninja 1. Well, maybe not. Yeah, actually I did. Okay. Right there. Look at that. Okay. So his shadow layer was not properly extended. Okay. You know, stuff you don't know if you're not paying attention. So let's go down into that sub-X sheet. And we got to go all the way to here. And what we're going to find is there's going to be a level here that ends too early. Yep, there it is. Now, the likelihood is that we can't. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to be able to just repeat that frame. So what we need to do is paint the shadow. Okay, so let's grab this and make it black, and I'm trusting that what's going to happen is, yeah, that's what I was hoping. Okay, good. I don't know why that. What's up with the little part that's not letting me shadow it, but again, this is, now we're getting into the territory of OpenToon's bizarre behaviors. Yeah, why is that cut right there? It's cut right there, and I can't paint his face. You look up here, the face layer is behind the shadow. It's behind it. In fact, there are no other layers. Okay, the only sensible explanation is that the cell size is wrong. These frames are like this big for some goofy reason, and they need to be resized. I'm sure that's the problem. Okay, so level, canvas size. It says, okay, so the canvas size is already HD. So what that tells me is probably the canvas got scaled, and there's no evidence of any keyframes with the animate tool, so it doesn't make sense. Okay, it is what clipping region, so that means I can't. Basically, it's impossible to go outside the lines and wreck it, so that's good. Makes it pretty fast and easy to do shadows, actually. So, okay, one more frame, and we're done with that. Well, yes and no. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, as long as we're here, why don't I make this brush as big as I can make it and put the shadow here? Okay, we better go back up here to the tippy top, and I'm thinking this is what we want to do. Oh, we can't do that. Why can't we do that? I just told you why we can't do that. Because it's using his body as a clipping region. That means when we render, we're not going to see the shadow on the floor. Okay, so what should we do? I'm not going to bother erasing it because it doesn't matter, but if we think about this for a minute, what we need is a shadow layer that is in front of his body, or I'm sorry, behind his body but in front of the floor. So I'm going to say insert a layer here. Okay? And that's what we'll do. So we're not going to do any clipping. And to make it easier to see what's going on, I'm going to go ahead and turn down the opacity of the shadow layer again. So that's N1 shadow, and that's the layer we just made. So we're going to call this cast shadow. And we can't name it until we paint something. So let's paint something, and then we're going to call this cast shadow. Okay, hopefully this will work. If we grab this and we grab this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use really bold strokes here. I can't go outside the lines though. I don't have the clipping advantage that I had before, so let's render that. Yeah, okay. And then what we'll do is when we render this, we'll blur it. We'll blur it a little bit, and make it a little bit transparent, and that will look good. So now what we have to do is probably do this on 2s. Okay. Oh yeah, it's because I'm using the eraser. So what I want to do is go back here, correct what I just accidentally erased, go here, And now I want to be a little careful. Obviously, shadow can move because he's moving, but there are parts of his anatomy that aren't moving much, so we want to be really careful to pretty well match this. So that's why I'm jumping back and forth between the cells, the keyframes. And this is one of those things that, honestly, this has been sitting on the back burner for like a couple weeks. And it's something I've needed to do, so it's not a big deal to go ahead and finally get it done. I mean, let's face it, shadows are not glamorous. What I'm going to do right now, actually, is I'm going to go through and just touch this everywhere that his body position changes, so that I go ahead and insert keyframes now. And then I'll go in and get him positioned properly. I think I just saw something wacky happen with his ponytail. Okay, let me check that. And the ponytail is, once again, seems to have a mind of its own, but he's moving pretty fast, so I don't know if that's even something we'll notice. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is focus on just one part. Okay. So it's not going to do me any good to keep going with that. Okay. Not bad. Alright, so let's do the torso now. Torso. Ah, got a little mistake there. Can't have that. Mm-hmm. Okay. This doesn't have to be like, I hate to say it doesn't have to be perfect because it makes it sound like I'm sloughing it every turn, but the truth of the matter is you're not gonna, there's a lot of I mean, you're just not gonna notice, you know. This isn't, we're not going, I mean, it's an anime. So it's not that you want to be sloppy, but you do want to be cognizant of what actually matters in the final art. Just so you're not like wasting tons of time on stuff that really just doesn't matter, or that you're not going to be able to see. Mm-hmm. So here we just kind of want to. Okay, that's not gonna work. Okay. Got a little mistake there. Come on, OpenTunes. All right. Back and forth. Okay. Okay. OpenTunes. Autosave. Well, I don't need to save my work because OpenTunes just did it for me. Okay. Yeah, I'm not feeling mega patient tonight for some reason. I'm kind of like wanting to get this grunt work done. Okay. Now we've got to deal with Ninja number 2. Okay, that's not quite going to work. So let me zoom in here. And we want to make our brush smaller. That's too small. Okay. Okay, so now we have a problem. Sort of. What I need to do is grab this and hit Control C because we've got keyframes on Ninja 2 that where Ninja, or I'm sorry, we got keyframes on Ninja 1 where Ninja 2 doesn't move, so it would be kind of dumb to have to redraw them each time because then it's just going to chatter. That's what I was talking about earlier. You kind of want to leverage your work a bit, so there's going to be a slight change, just a slight shift. Okay, and I'm going to say here probably can, since his hand's up there and that's kind of a new addition, that's what's gonna grab your attention. Okay, S, and for some reason the S key didn't want to work, so Control C, Control V, Control V. This is really asking for trouble, honestly. You really don't want to, like, see, it's like, this is a great example of what I'm talking about. Okay, so now all of a sudden we see that, oh, there's a mistake and I missed it. Okay, let's go back to the S key. Nope, I gotta go, now I have to go through every one of these frames and erase them. And this is why you want to have umpteen levels in your scene, is because you want to give everything that's basically animating independently from everything else, you want to give it its own level. Otherwise, you're going to increase. You're gonna hold on. You're gonna introduce chatter, things that sort of appear and disappear. Oh, come on, really? Was that there before when I was drawing Ninja 1? Maybe it was. Okay, let's see what we have here now. Here's hoping. Okay, so it's skipping ahead because in the final edit we skip ahead. So let's go up to here and let's hit Control R. Oh, hey Rose, sorry I've been in my own little world, man. and you said, hey, gotta go. So you were here and then you're gone. Okay, so let's see what that shadow looks like. We're obviously going to have to make it transparent. We're obviously going to have to, yeah, it looked great. It looked fine. So let's stop that and just scan through here. We don't have a shadow currently on the hand early on, but these shadows actually look really good. So right here we need a shadow. That's a little problematic.